including being overweight. So, scientifically, you cannot drink alkaline water and it makes your cells alkalytic. The closer you are to nature, the healthier you'll be.
All right. Happy Saturday, everyone. You are in the Mind of Nature, hosted by Dr. Zarif, the nutritionist. Thank you all so much for joining us here today. We are live streaming on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Instagram. As you come in, please go ahead and let us know that you're there. Okay. Go into the comments. Let us know that you are there. We have a great show lined up for you today. All right. A great show lined up. So let's get it started. We're talking about eating unhealthy despite knowing better. All right. And also not exercising despite knowing better. How about that? Also, eating too much too late and human touch deprivation. So please, as you are coming in, go ahead and give us a like as well so we know that you're there. Go ahead and drop your comments. Let us know that you are there. Dr. Zarif, go ahead and join me here on stage so we can get started. Grand Rising to you and
Grand Rising.
happy Valentine's Day.
Oh, well, the same to you. Thank you very much, Kara, and happy Valentine's Day to you too, and all those who are here with us today. We have a lot of work to get done, so we want you to sit back and relax. And we're going to talk about what do you do before you go into this transitioning, to a new lifestyle,
Mhm.
and we want to make sure that you copy this and share this because I'm going to say some things to you that you just haven't been even talked to about by any dietitian or nutritionist or MD, DO, PhD, and everybody else, nurse practitioner, because it is new as far as the way that we look at food. So the question is here uh, is what comes from what comes before eating healthier? Because there has to be something else. You just don't like, you grow up wanting something healthy. So us just go ahead and look into it a little bit because the question is very powerful and it sits in the intersection of biology and psychology, environment, and culture.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the general reason that people eat unhealthily despite knowing better is this: knowledge alone does not override biology, environment, emotion, and habit. None of that. It doesn't. You keep that in mind. It doesn't override just because you know it. It doesn't override the biology, what's happening in your body, your environment, where you live in, your emotion, how you feeling, and the habits, things that you're repeating. Now we're going to talk about eating unhealthily despite uh, knowing better first, along with the despite eating too much, and we're going to also talk about human touch and friends and family deprivation later on because these are really strong elements that really can cause you to. Make a different decision. Those different decisions can lead to illness. And that's what we just want to just make a little more sense out of this. Because the core truth is this, is that people don't eat unhealthily because they're ignorant. They just don't do. It's like you can see a professor, you can see a surgeon, you can see a judge, you can see other people of notoriety that they actually eat unhealthily, but they eat unhealthily because biology pulls them, emotions soothe them, Habits trap them, environment enables them, and culture reinforces them. Knowledge is necessary, but is not sufficient. So we start off with biology. When we're starting off with biology, we're talking about the highly processed foods that are engineered to stimulate dopamine, opioid receptors, rapid blood sugar spikes. Now, dopamine, for those of you that don't know about this hormone, is actually the hormone that allows us to feel rewarded and pleasured. And then opioids are for comfort. Rapid blood sugar spikes gives us this temporary energy high. Now, this creates a feedback loop similar to addictive behaviors, like eat hyper palatable food, feel pleasure or relief, crashing, and crave again. That cycle just goes around and around and around, but it's all connected to euphoria, to feeling good. Now, the brain prioritizes immediate reward over long term health. This is evolutionary. We are wired to seek calorie dense foods because historically survival depended on it. So we're just still eating in a lot of cases, just like cavemen and women. These are primitive ways of eating. And here it is, 2026. Now, in modern society, that wiring is actually exploited. In other words, the way that we think now, and now that we know scientifically that biology overrides logic, and we talked about the dopamine, the opioids, the rapid blood sugar spikes that people can get that temporary energy high from. All of those things are parts of our eating condition today and the habits that we have with those conditions. So let's look at some of the emotional regulations that we have through food. Now, many people use food to manage their stress, their loneliness, trauma, boredom, anxiety, and the food will be, or it becomes their comfort. It becomes their therapy, their celebration, their coping mechanism, and their escape. So when food becomes emotional medicine, logic loses. There's no way that logic can over or outdo those particular rewards. So, how do we get to that point? We get through that point by habits. And there are also neural pathways. Habits are just automatic brain patterns. And if someone has eaten a certain way for many, many years, and for instance 10, 20, 30, 40 years, the brain has built this strong neural pathway, and these strong neural pathways stay with the human body for a lifetime. Now their taste preferences have adapted, and the gut microbiome even influence cravings. Changing your diet isn't just changing your meals. Changing your diet is not just changing your meals. Keep that in mind. It's rewiring the brain. That's what really counts when rewire the brain, when we go over these things and we force ourselves to get out, to move, to make better choices. And this is something that's very important. Many people live in these food deserts, these high stress communities, time poor households, cultures center around this unhealthy celebratory foods. When unhealthy food is cheaper, when it's faster, more accessible, more marketed, and It just simply becomes the default. That's the go-to. But willpower cannot compete with environment long term. It just can't. You don't have, and I'll talk to you about that later. Delayed consequences over immediate rewards. Now, unhealthy eating consequences are slow. They're invisible at first. They often the decades away. But the reward is immediate, is sensory, and is social. Now, humans discount future risk, and this is called temporal discounting. Now, we're talking about, of course, the way that we think and what's locked in and what some of the things that we inculcate ourselves with, like the cognitive dissonance. People resolve the tension between knowing and doing. So knowing and doing by minimizing the risk, like, my grandmother ate like that and she lived a long time. Or you will hear things like comparing. Well, at least I don't eat like Uncle Bill, and postponing. Postponing is, I do it Monday. Is you put it off. You keep putting things off, procrastinating. This protects the self-image without changing behavior. Marketing and cultural conditioning would be next. For from childhood, many people are conditioned to associate sugar with love, just like it's now today. For instance, it is Valentine's Day, perfect example. And the sugar, or the sweets, the chocolate, all of that, it signifies love, or we've been conditioned to associate sugar with love. We've been conditioned to associate fast foods with immediate reward, that feeling you get from biting into that sandwich. And then meat has we've learned to, or been conditioned to associate meat with strength, and plants with weakness. We've also learned to, or been conditioned to associate soda with celebration. By adulthood, these are identity linked behaviors. Now, I want to go on to, we just went into very briefly eating unhealthily despite knowing better. But now let's discuss not exercising despite knowing better, because this is, you can apply the same principles here, and you will find that, oh God, I got to take the same steps in order to unlock myself, or to unchain myself from these particular challenges that we have through life. So not exercising despite knowing better is not a knowledge problem. It's a behavior, emotion, and brain regulation problem. Okay, I'll say that again, that not exercising despite knowing better is not a knowledge problem, because a lot of people connect with, if you don't know something, then you are um, you're lacking in knowledge, you're ignorant. But I'm here to tell you that ignorance is, that's not the reason that people, doctors and lawyers and high active cognitive people, it's not, they're not eating these burgers and all this junk and sodas and stuff because they don't know any better. They're actually doing what is being programmed over the years, okay? And that is the behavior, the emotion, and the brain regulation. That's the real problem. So let's break it down and make it a little more clear. Number one is that the knowledge does not control behavior. Knowledge, what you know, you've seen. Why do you see doctors that are doing things that the common man does or the common woman does? because knowledge does not control behavior. The brain controls behavior. And knowing exercises is good. It actually activates your prefrontal cortex. And perhaps we'll get into your logic center later, but that's where it comes from. But the action is controlled by, I'm going to just go over a few systems with you. Some of these systems in which you may not have even heard before, because um, they're not taught along this. Usually they're taught when you're talking about psychology or if you're some type of cognitive therapist. But knowledge does not control your behavior. Again, your brain does. And knowing your exercise is good, activates that prefrontal cortex. And we'll get into more about that later. But action is controlled by the limbic system. You have a limbic system that controls your emotion and your comfort. And then there's the basal ganglia. That is your habit system. And we have dopamine with reward system. And we talked about that earlier. Now, if exercise is not wired as a rewarding habit, the brain chooses comfort. It'll choose energy conservation. It'll choose immediate pleasure and stress relief. So keep in mind that the brain is survival driven, is not goal driven. And that's a huge mistake because people feel like when they're motivated to do something, then they'll go out and do it and they'll be successful as the person that's telling them that they can be successful. But surprise, that is not it. We don't have a lot of things that we learn. For instance, this is Dr. James Thompson. Dr. James Thompson is one of the extraordinary doctors that says what he does. And he's very, very transparent and honest with you. He'll say, yeah, I'm still having problem eating this or eating that, or I need to keep my eye on this and manage this a little better. He also jogs, he's running while he's giving you information about the benefits of running and the benefits of exercising. Exercise is one of those things that is very, very beneficial, and I would suggest that is something that we continue doing. Your brain is evolved to conserve energy. Historically, movement is equal to hunting, and then calories were scarce, and the energy had to be preserved. But in the modern world, food is abundant, and movement isn't equal to hunting. Movement is optional. Comfort is constant. So the bottom line is that the brain still prefers save energy unless absolutely necessary, and exercise feels like volunteer stress. The brain resists stress unless there's an immediate reward. So you're fighting with yourself sometimes, and sometimes you have to shut things down. For instance, when you're exercising and your mind is saying things like, you don't need to do all this. All you need to do is go and relax. This is you overdoing it. You'll start hearing it. Go and get something to eat. You cramping. You're getting tight. You're getting tired. You have to shut that stuff down, because if you don't, what happens is it continues to hold you back. It continues to sabotage your goals. Now, when it gets to emotional avoidance, which a lot of folks do, they do everything to avoid this emotional state. But many people don't avoid exercise because of laziness. They avoid it because it triggers. It triggers what? Insecurity about your body. It triggers shame about fitness levels, fear of failure, past trauma, for instance, the humiliation in sports, comparison, anxiety. All of these are ways, situations, and states of emotional avoidance. Now, the brain avoids emotional discomfort more than physical discomfort. The brain avoids emotional discomfort more than it does physical discomfort, because the pain of the brain, or those things that come from our emotional standpoint, can be very, very as much or more painful than physical. Now, there's a dopamine imbalance. We talked about dopamine earlier. The modern dopamine hijackers, such as social media, processed food, streaming, scrolling, sugar, and these also provide fast, easy rewards. Exercise actually provides delayed dopamine and the effort before reward, mild discomfort. The brain chooses the easier reward loop, and we have ourselves a little fight because we're going more and more to the easier side of things, and we keep up and we do these things throughout the entire year after year. Identity conflict is one of those things too that we have a problem with. When you don't know what you are and who you are, you can definitely be in long-term conflict with yourself. If someone sees themselves as not athletic or out of shape or too busy or too old, their subconscious identity conflicts with the action. So behavior follows identity more than intention. Now, there's also a state where people go through what is called the all or nothing thinking, and that's like common internal this auto suggestion, which is one author calls it auto suggestion, and then you have common internal script that is going on constantly in your head. Remember, you have to control those things. You just don't say, well, my brain will take care of it. For instance, part of that script is, if I can't do a full workout, why bother? Or you might hear yourself think, well, I missed Monday, so the week is ruined. I got to start waiting all over for Monday again. Or you might hear or say to yourself, I'll start fresh next month. Remember, perfectionism kills consistency. Now, your stress hormones, we should really pay attention to them, because stress hormones make you avoid it. Okay, what are we talking about? We're talking about that chronic stress, actually what it does. And chronic stress over and over, it actually increases the cortisol, the inflammation, the fatigue perception, and even if physically capable, you feel tired. Now, stress makes the body prioritize safety over exertion. It's often that your nervous system you have an issue. There's often have a nervous system issue. If someone lives in a chronic fight or flight state, or overwork themselves, emotional overwhelm, their nervous systems actually crave stillness, numbing, distraction, and not more stimulation. Now, in those cases, walking, stretching, and breathing work is more effective than intense workouts. And again, it's all about balance. You take your time, it's little by little, but you get in your balance. The balance is when your body is working at an optimal state. So, what actually works? Instead of discipline, and this, you got to listen to this, because I remember I used to hear this in martial art academy a lot: discipline, 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 discipline. Well, instead of discipline, focus on brain alignment. Okay, that means shrink the goal. Your goals, you want to shrink it because it's more attainable. 5 minutes, 10 push-ups, walk around the block. Make it so small that it's irresistible. You can also remove the friction. Clothes, lay out your clothes. Lay your shoes out. It's almost like when you're getting ready to go to a special event. Lay everything out and do that the same time every day. Attached to identity, um, you will hear things like, I'm trying to work out, but I am someone who moves daily, or someone that I'm usually have a conflict of schedule. I have to I lie a couple of times a day just to keep everything straight. I don't know why it's so hard for me to tell the truth about things of that nature. It goes on, and making better choices, like not just eating food because your family ate the food. Make sure that if it's something that you're choosing, that it is the best thing for you. Now, again, looking to the deeper truth, most people who know better are not unmotivated. They are dysregulated. They're overstimulated. They're sleep deprived, emotionally overloaded. Their reward system is imbalanced, and the solution is not guilt. The solution is not feeling bad about yourself. The solution is not hurting you. It is nervous system alignment plus habit design. That's what we need to look at in order to make sense out of this. I'm going to take a break right now. And I think while we're taking a break, we also want to just reiterate how wonderful Dr. James's 28 day diet plan was. And all four of the heart health sessions were just simply great. I was fortunate enough to make the whole thing, and it was very, very good. So I'm going to go back to Care and see if we have any comments.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Zarif. And yes, Dr. James's the 28-day Kickstarter was great. Great information from the beginning to the end. We do have some comments here. Let's see. Not Your Average Joe podcast. He says, let's grow.
Yeah.
Doc and Carolyn, happy Valentine's Day. Yes, same to you. Thank you so much. My Leah says, hello, Z and Carolyn. Hello, hello to you. Thank you so much for joining us here. Happy Saturday and happy V Day. Thank you. Um, let's see. I'm going to look over here on, if I can get to it, on Instagram. Eclipse Soleil, good morning to you. Says, good morning, Doc. And Carolyn, happy Valentine's Day. Same to you. It's the love. It's the love. And also, Raspberry Gold 61, happy Valentine's Day to you as well over on Instagram. So, yes, thank you all so much for joining us. We are live streaming on Facebook, we're on YouTube, and we are on Instagram. If you have not already and you are on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel, Dr. Farid Zarif's YouTube channel. All right, that is what I have to say. Dr. Zarif, anything from you?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, and it's good to not. It's good to hear from Joe. Joe, thank you very much, brother. Be safe out there. I know you're moving all around the world. It's good to hear from you. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I want to continue with. I'm always in a state of Thanksgiving because there's just so many people that just make your life just absolutely wonderful, and thank you in advance for all that you do. Now we've talked about eating unhealthfully despite knowing better. We've talked about eating too much. I think we haven't come up on eating too much too late yet, but we'll talk about that too. And then the human touch. This is something that is negated, and it really makes a big difference when we have human touch in our body. Okay. Now we want to get past some of these things that we say to hold ourselves back, also. But Let's some of the things that hold us back is when we overdo it. Some people think a little of something, if it works, then more of it is even better. And we find that not to be true in many ways. Eating too much, eating too late, despite knowing better. Why do people do this? Well, let's talk about the brain at night. It is not the same brain. The brain at night is not the same brain. In the evening, for instance, the prefrontal cortex, which we talked about earlier, that deals with self control. This is a part of the brain that deals with discipline. This actually starts to decrease. And the decision fatigue, we're talking about it in the evening now. In the evening, we get decision fatigue. When you're in the evening, when you're going closer to your bedtime, this isn't the best time to make your decisions, especially on things that are very important. And then the increasing of the dopamine sensitivity. We deal with that because everybody wants to feel good. Then we have emotional processing. Emotional processing, this is not the best time to deal with some of the problems that may be a part of a full day of decisions and stress and restraint. The brain shifts into what is called relief mode. Night eating is often not hunger at all; it's neurological decompression. So don't be so hard on yourself when it comes to eating too much, but you should do something about it. Don't just say, well, it's not my fault. Yeah, well, when you know better, this is your opportunity to do better. Now, you hear me talk about, and those of you that have been following me for a while now, I'm the founder of the rhythmic ingestion. Rhythmic ingestion is how we eat and align ourselves with the circadian rhythm. Now, there is a circadian rhythm mismatch. Your metabolic or metabolism actually follows a clock. Insulin sensitivity is highest in the morning. We need to know that before eating purposes. So, where our digestive system doesn't work the same in the day as it does at night. For instance, in the evening, digestion slows at night. Digestion speeds up in the day. Melatonin rises and it reduces glucose tolerance. Okay, I know all of this stuff is really, really very, very necessary because we hear the same crap every year over and over. And I'm telling you now, as I am explaining to you, it has nothing to do with knowledge. Knowledge is necessary, but it isn't sufficient when it comes to eating correctly. So yes, right. The insufficient knowledge. I don't care how brilliant you are. I would love to look back at some of the most incredible minds of our time, of your life, and you will find that one of the big struggles that they had is they would overeat or eat some of the more unhealthy foods than you would think that they would. So back to the circadian rhythm mismatch. Your metabolism follows a clock, and the insulin sensitivity is higher in the morning. Digestion slows at night. Melatonin rises and reduces your glucose tolerance. So biologically, your body is built to eat earlier. And that's why, waiting to the last, you work all day and then you make up with this giant meal at the end of the day. Well, that can definitely be very harmful to the optimality of one's body, or the optimal use of your body. So make sure that you give this attention. Biologically, your body is built again to eat the most food in the earlier parts of the day, but culturally, work runs late. and the lights stay on and screens stimulate the brain. Meals shift later. So you are actually eating at a time that your body is preparing to go to sleep. This is when calmatives set in. This is when it is time for you to get some rest and digest. Okay, that mismatch increases cravings and poor portions control. Now, poor portions control is just when people just overdo it when it comes to eating. They overdo it, and for instance, in drinking too much water, and we talked about that before. When those people that say, "Oh no, you can't eat too much or drink too much water." Yes, you can. You can overdo it practically in everything. Now, speaking about overdoing it, your stress plus your cortisol, that equals those late cravings. You know, those late cravings I'm talking about. If you were in a stress mode all day with cortisol that stayed elevated, you suppressed your appetite, you push through at night, cortisol drops, and the body says, pay back the energy debt. That's why we overdo it. This often leads to carb cravings, sugar cravings, large portions, fast eating. It feels uncontrollable because the physiology or the even the physiological state that you're in at the time, it feels like you have no say so, no control over those things, and it's partially right. I won't go into it right now, but we have more control than we realize. But we also have to realize that we don't have control over everything. Under fueling earlier, and many people who actually overeat at night, they skip breakfast and they ate lightly during the day. They drank caffeine instead of eating. They were too busy to sit down. The body just keeps score, and if you don't eat enough during the daylight, the nighttime actually becomes compensation. In other words, your body makes up. If you didn't eat during the day, we overdo it in the evening, and then we take all of that food to bed with us. We call this dinner, and you're eating the dinner in large amounts. It's more work. You don't allow your heart to rest. That has to be by itself meaning something to you. So we want to make sure that we're giving these things a lot of attention. And back to the dopamine seeking after a long day, this is what happens. We want that feel good. You know, euphoria can be more important than life itself to some people. During the day, you likely gave effort and productivity, service. You did your thing. You helped where you needed to help. But at night, the brain wants immediate rewards. This is why love making is so associated with the dark. And I guess if we turn off the lights, we were so popular. Y'all remember that song? Well, highly processed foods give fast dopamine, fast serotonin boost, temporary relaxation, and the brain learns that night equals relief and food. That loop becomes wired. And when that loop becomes wired, you want to do it every time you're ready to go to sleep. There's something that you want, a certain way that you want to feel. And that's very important to look at what you're feeling so that you'll be able to manage these things. And in a lot of cases, you want to rid some of these things. Let's look at fatigue and how fatigue weakens inhibition. Well, sleep pressure, the sleep, actually, the pressure of sleeping, bills all day. You know, in other words, if you're busy and you don't stop to eat and drink properly, and you got a next meeting, I know it feels good because you like, I'm making money, I'm rolling, everything is coming. I'm glad I'm building it up, and yeah, that has some important parts to it, but again, balance, equilibrium. This is super important. So again, if you have that sleep pressure that builds all day as adenosine rises, impulse controls drops, craving feels stronger. Things like I don't care thinking, it increases, and tired brains, they choose fast energy. So when you have that tired brain, that's why a lot of people would, they'll put all that sugar, those sugar cubes into some drink, or they're looking for some shortcut, that either a syringe or the certain foods or certain drinks. And this is part of how we become addicted to things that hurt our body. I'm going to stop here. We're going to go back to Carolyn and see exactly what's on the mind of the listeners today.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Zari. Let's see here. We got Reverend Dr. Diva D. Coates. It
All
says
right.
Grand Rising. Happy Valentine's Day. And what up, though? What up, though, to you? Every time I say that, what up, though, I'm like, I hope I'm giving it justice, the Detroit justice that it should, the term should have. But, great information, Dr. Zara. You mentioned earlier, and it was this kind of silly video that this one girl she did, and it was in regards to exercising, and you having the discipline of exercising, and people making up excuses. And there was this one girl that was on, I think it was like, I saw it on Instagram, and she was talking to the camera, looking in the camera, and she had tears in her eyes. And her thing was, she's like, she's saying, looking into the camera with tears in her eyes, saying, I want to start exercising, I really do, but my sister is bald headed, and I mean, she don't have no hair on her head, and that's her excuse for not exercising. So it was funny to me, and when you said it, it reminded me of just the left, type of excuses that people have for not exercising. But I thought it was funny, and that's what I thought of when you said that. But I
Yeah.
mean, it can be one of those things where it really is. You can have any excuse in the book to not do that thing. It's just, you just have to be willing to do it, right? Get up and do it.
Yes, exactly. Just sometimes you have to coerce yourself. You got to make yourself get up. You got to roll out the bed. You got to talk to yourself. You got to shut down some of that negative conversation in your head. You got to get up and do it. The biggest problem that I think that you would run into is balance. Because from one extreme, not doing anything, to the other extreme, doing everything, it's like keeping a balance, especially those people that are in relationships. You want to make sure that your partner never feels that you're sitting on the back of the bus. You don't want them to feel that they're being compromised. You want to make sure that, like, I got to do this. You explain it, and they know why. And then that can help to settle some of the discomfort that you may have, because you become one of those busy bees and you want to keep everything going and keep going.
Yeah.
Money is important, but it's not everything. Make
Right.
sure that you take time to share and to also spend time with your family, friends, and do things that involve getting out of your house. The longer you stay in your house, the longer you're going to want to stay in your house. The longer you stay on that couch or that recliner, the longer you're going to want to do it. Now, I know how it is looking at TV, especially today with keeping up with political stuff and these low life blankety blankety blanks. I just don't have anything good to say,
Yeah.
so I'll move on. So it's when you're looking at that, I want to keep up with things, and it's really one of those things that I really take pride in because I want to know, keep caught up with stuff. We've never been exposed to as much as we hear about today. The president's office has been a big secret, you
Mhm.
know. And then, well, there's a few of them that you got an idea that, oh, okay, this is just like the average person. But these are things that we are learning even here with the principles of eating, that we don't overdo it. Balance is the key. And I'd like to just suggest to you is to find your balance. Find your balance, and with that balance, you can get a lot of things achieved. Let's
Mhm.
go ahead. I want to, if there's anything else, Carolyn, I want to go ahead and keep going.
No, just giving a shout out for those in the comments. Dr. Cher Steven says, "Good morning from Cali." Good morning to you. Hello, hello. Just giving some shout outs. All right.
Oh, we got to get definitely. I looked over here on. This is really really great on Instagram. There's a lot of people over here, so I want to say hello, Instagram. Thank you very much, Raspberry Go 61 and Eclipse Soleil, Aim Sky Aim Productions in the house. Omari Be Good is in the house. Omari Be Good, love that name. Thank you very much for being here. We're getting a lot done today, so let's keep up with it. Now, I want to talk about the humans. Humans, we are all regulated through our friends and our families, other humans. Okay, the nervous system is not self-sufficient. We are wired to co-regulation, and we actually, when we experience a hug, when there's eye contact, when there's a warm tone in the voice, physical presence, and safe conversation, all of this is really what helps to keep us regulated as healthy humans. Now I want to share with you why we avoid connection despite knowing that we need it. Well, stress includes the withdrawal. And when chronically stressed, the brain shifts into fight, flight, freeze. Those three F's: fight, flight, and freeze. And in freeze and flight states, people withdraw socially to conserve energy. And you may want connection, but you feel too exhausted to reach out. So this is what happens. And again, remember, a lot of this happens in a brain shift. And these are good things to know, because many times we ride ourselves quite hard about that. So back to people connecting with other people. Um, you have also some people with what are called attachment wounds. Now, if someone experienced a rejection or emotional neglect, betrayal, inconsistent caregiving, the brain may just equate closeness with danger. So even though the connection is desired, the body feels threat. And that creates this internal conflict. Like, I need people, but people are not safe. So you have this ongoing conflict with yourself, and you neglect the peace and regulation, the love, the association, and the balance of having people that you love, calling them, talking, and keeping in contact with them. And some of us, we have different lives, but I'm telling you, this is the age of everything you can think of to get in contact with each other. So if you're not doing so well with that, make sure that you pick up the phone, Make sure that you reach out, send an email, you have a text, or the other ways to communicate with people, because it, in fact, makes you a better person. Now, digital substitutes, the social media actually creates the exposure to people, but not the nervous system, because it doesn't affect the nervous system regulation. Now, scrolling feels like connection, but it does not provide touch. It does not provide the shared breath. It doesn't provide physical presence, true emotion, attunement. It actually satisfies the visual social hunger, but not biological social hunger. And that is a big difference, just your visual social hunger versus your biological social hunger can be a huge difference between the two. Now I'm gonna close with the a few things. First, the family and the friend disconnection, and here in our modern society today, we see geographic separation. We work overload. We get ourselves just, and we brag about it because it seems the right thing to do, and especially when you're getting paid. But don't rip your life off because you want to have all the money in the world. It just won't happen. Long commute times, individualized living, cultural fragmentation. Many adults spend most of their time alone. I want to make sure that you hear that. Aloneism is huge today. And if you are alone, get out of that rut by getting out of that home. A rut is nothing but a grave with the ends kicked out, and you want to get out of that rut. So being alone, you know, especially with screens like your monitors and your cell phones, your desktops, and so forth, they become companions in trans transactional uh, like interactions. You'll find that again you have an imbalance or no equilibrium if you don't exercise these particular states and levels that you reach as you grow. Community is actually used to be rebuilt in. Now it's just a built intentional build. I guess that's not clear, but the community used to build the built in, and how you made from the inside. And when you don't have that, a lot of times you're just lost and you're chasing what you think you are and what you want to be, and you have no idea. A lot of people go through almost a whole life before they really find out who they are. And why is hard to rebuild is because the connections require vulnerability. It requires time. It requires rejection risk, emotional openness, and in a fatigued nervous system, vulnerability feeds or feels unsafe. So avoidance continues. The nervous system loop, which I won't go over today, but we'll take some time so that you will understand more about isolation and stress, withdrawal, and loneliness. All of these things and how they're connected to cortisol and withdrawal and stress. Very, very important. So, the deeper reality is that many people are not avoiding the connection because they don't value it. They are overstimulated, emotional, guarded, they're time starved, disappointed by past relationships. They're living in survival mode. And that's how we get all these weird looking plates and people eating these different type of paleo diets is quite interesting. But pay attention to what direction your life is going in. When survival mode is active, connection feels secondary, but biologically, it is primary. The signs of a human touch deprivation is craving physical affection, heightening or heighten the sensitivity to rejection, emotional numbness, not being able to feel anything, and sleep difficulty, along with increased food cravings, low grade sadness without clear cause. Sometimes overeating at night is actually loneliness disguised as hunger. Now, um, I'm going to finish up by saying that you want to heal attachment patterns. Sometimes therapy, spiritual direction, or the mentorship is needed to rewire relational safety. So you have to go over this stuff. It's not just say a couple of times. You want to stay in that direction, be around those type of people, get that therapeutic help if you need it, and then the mentorship also is needed. Someone that is older, like a person my age, and you get to sit down and you talk to them. Don't waste your time on small talk. Every once in a while, hey, how you doing? Good, all right. How you doing? Oh, it's cold outside. Well, okay, take care now and put on the coat. Yeah, small stuff, but you want to make sure that you are being productive at all costs. Otherwise, productivity will always win. uh, Productivity will always win. And that is if exercise is scheduled, for instance, connection must be too. If exercise is scheduled, connection must be scheduled also. If you're scheduling to take care of your business on the internet, and you're doing taking care of business, and you find that it's separating your relationship, then you want to do something about that connection. Don't let these external things overtake the love that you've built up for years and that you are protecting. The hard truth is this, is that human beings cannot fully thrive alone. We can survive alone. We cannot regulate optimally optimally alone. And I've been using that word all throughout today. Optimally is the highest form, the highest level. And that's what we're talking about here today. Your need for connection is not weakness, it's biology. Thank you for listening, everybody. You've been listening to a few tips that you can actually uh, know what comes before healthier eating. Now that you know, it's time to do something about it. And that is our mission, to get you to learn about it and then to do something about it. Keep this in mind if you've forgotten everything else, that knowledge is definitely necessary, but it's not sufficient. Let's go to care and we'll finish up.
I was waiting for you to finish your line before I started. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I was waiting for you. I wanted you to interrupt me because I didn't have a word there. And I said, hey, all right, there it is.
I noticed that. No problem. I am here.
Okay.
Over on Instagram, Eclipse Soleil says this has been so enlightening. I needed this. Thank you once again. Woohoo!
Thank you. Thank you, Soleil.
Love that kind of feedback. So yes, great information as always, Dr. Zarif. Whew. Sometimes I feel like we need to get that reminder because, the things that we talk about, it's not that we don't know, it's that we hear it. And some people may take action, but some may not. And that is when, you kind of like say, okay, let's give this reminder. You kind of need that reminder of the things that we know that we should be doing. Um, you
Yeah.
know?
Absolutely. Again, just to remind everybody, knowledge alone does not override the natural things. And the closer you are to nature, the healthier to be. What are some of the natural things? Biology, environment, emotion, and habit.
Mhm.
So, this is like the food thing. A lot of folks think like I eat the way that I eat because I know better. But I know so many more people that know better, but they don't do better because again, it's all about um, the effect that biology has on us, and we are human beings and we have cravings, we have things that we want to feel, and through that we the dopamine, the serotonin, the oxytocin, all of those are and more, these are the endorphins. We want to feel good, and we want to feel good most of the time. There isn't a time that a person says, "Ugh, I want to feel bad." Even
Mhm.
if you're writing about a sad love story, people want to feel good about that. So keep in mind that knowledge alone does not override by you biologically, or the biology of you, the your environment, your emotion, really important, and your habit. Care.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Dr. Zari. For everyone that joined us, thank you so much for dropping your comments. I'm just going to give quick shout outs here. First Lady Sarita, thank you so much for joining us here today. Dr. Cher Stevens says, thanks for the helpful tips. And Reverend Dr. Diva D. Coates, have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful day to everyone. And again, happy Valentine's Day. Hug on someone. Hug on someone today, and let them know that you care. All right. Dr. Zarif, back to you.
Thank you so much, everybody. I'm Dr. Zarif, the nutritionist.